Now.
Yeah, great. Hello. Can you check your voice also? Paula? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm also good. How's your isolation?
Yeah, it's here in Norway. It's we're starting to open up now. So last week, kindergartens started to open, and now some of the schools have opened, and so it's okay for the moment, but it's still strict measures meant.
Okay. So what you're already starting to open your lockdown. It's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting to us a little bit like hope for Russia too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what is about Paulo.
I had a slight problem with sound. Now I'm fine.
Yeah.
You hear me? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
I'm hear you.
Hi everybody.
Hello.
Hello. How is it Portugal right now?
Well, sunny outside, but still we're in. Actually, right now we're about to degrade a level, so there will be a little bit more freedom, but still most shops are closed. So, but during the month of May, we will gradually open slowly some shops and commerce and well activity.
Okay. So, like in the middle of May, or what's right now the situation?
It's like each week there is like a slot of spaces, commercial spaces that are opening, then restaurants, then in the end, let's say cinemas, for instance, they will open first in the beginning of June with limited spaces, you know, limited rows. I think it's like in other countries.
Okay.
How's Russia?
We are in process of waiting.
Mm-hmm.
We hope, Andrei, I don't know, maybe you can also tell you about what you think about Russia.
Well, it's very difficult time actually. We just discussed before you connected with Anna about what think we are missing. I really miss on restaurants. Just
Everybody misses restaurants.
Just eating together with other people. Actually, even unknown people, but surrounded by them.
Yes, free hugs.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And how is the festival going? It's a new experience, I know.
Everyone has the same question. Okay, yeah, I just made send to remind to all people who was also invited. Yeah. Let's say like we'll be going right now online in May, because every May we used to have a film festival. So they a little bit missing the time, and you know, on 1st of May we got a lot of message from everywhere in the world, from people who is just writing, "Hi, how are you?" Or like, and send a lot of pictures from like 1st of May when we are in festival. And it was so nice. So yeah, so right now it's a little bit more online, but well, it's still good because we can speak to each other right now. And we will also publish some online film program in May, so like everyone can see. We already agreed with several film directors that it will be like online cinema hall for everyone in the world. And we hope that like in in February we moved our film festival in August, because we already know what it will be, some like problems in May. Well, because when I came from the Berlinale, and everyone already knew in Berlinale that it will be locked down, so we decided to move film festival in August. But right now we're in a situation that no one knows what will happen in August. So let's see.
So you might have, or
we will have this year, but we right now it's planning in August. Maybe we will move in a little bit more in the end of the year, but let's see. But we starting with online right now for like keeping discussion and people online. So let's see how it will be.
It looks like online is getting a widespread version and joining several festivals. I was recently in a jury in an online festival.
Oh wow!
And how's it?
It was okay. It was a film festival in Toulouse. But other than, you know, not being there and experiencing a real festival with people and the venues and discussing the films, it was okay. But you have to see the films on your living room, which is the same thing.
Yeah, that's
and
a little bit
discussions like this with the other juries, but it's great.
So we have a little bit several questions, but I think that on the beginning we got some like question. You already got a question that I have sent to you all the question that we get it before. So but maybe you can tell a little bit more about not really about of course about yourself and your opinion about how is it to work as a film critics, and maybe what is your more patient, let's say, patient moment, or maybe patient thing what you have as a film critics person or film journalist, what is your patient, let's say, most complicated question that will start at the beginning.
Morten.
Oh wow, the most question. Well, I think it's definitely very very interesting times now, and but it's very strange not be able to go to festivals and to be so much home. I think that Norway, compared to many other countries, things have starting to open here, and actually next week some cinemas will open for a maximum of 50 people inside the theaters. So things are slowly starting to open here. So I think it's the situation is not exactly like in many other countries, but it feels very strange not to be able to go to festivals, and I also do miss hanging out with international colleagues and getting to know new people, but it's really but I think that also because of the technology, I think that we should have a positive mindset about it. And personally, during this lockdown, I have been able to watch a lot of movie classics that I've never had time to see before. I've watched many Alfred Hitchcock movies recently, including Family Plot and Frenzy, and I've never seen those movies before. So it's also an opportunity, but also I think it's the economic situation is hard for, I guess, every one of us, and it's definitely difficult times as well.
Oh, well, yeah, it's true. Is it getting more popular right now? For example, for you, do you get a lot of questions for to write about, I don't know, some special information about lockdown and online, maybe some special information about, like, I don't know, maybe it's some newspapers more interested in like special stories, or maybe like special type of films, I don't know, maybe like serials, or maybe more Russian films, or yeah, what is more popular right now? Or as you said, classics, it's getting as a new life right now. What is it?
Yeah, well, I think that what's interesting is that I've, for the people and the newspapers and websites I work for, none of them have actually asked me to write about the lockdown, but they have actually, I think for them it's been important to recommend, new movies, classics, television series, short films, things on YouTube, etc. And don't really mention the word, Corona, because I think that, I don't know with you or, the people watching, but, in the start of the lockdown, I, read everything about Corona 24/7. I read all the newspapers about Corona, websites, and watching press conferences with a certain president in America. I watched everything. So I think that, maybe people, for the moment being, is a little bit fed up of hearing Corona 24/7. So maybe they need an escape. And so that's why I've written a lot about, recommending a lot of, new movies on Netflix, on Apple Plus, and all the streaming platforms. And also, asked, or recommended from all my readers to rewatch all these great classics that's available. And I think that, I wouldn't really say it's a great thing, but I think that a lot of people spend a lot of time watching content these days. And so I think that our roles as, critics and journalists have, and have got even more important.
Okay. Paulo?
Yes. Well, it seems to me that this is the right time, unfortunately, to pay attention to other things. I mean, and even in film, as Morten said, a lot of people are getting back to classics. And I have to say, I was quite surprised that you mentioned Hitchcock, because I'm really doing a big retrospective, local retrospective with it seems like it's always nice to go back to Hitchcock and have that basic. So it's interesting. And I also I remind, when I'm thinking about passions, of course, I miss a lot not going to film festivals at this time. Most of us would be anticipating probably Cannes.
Right now it's preparation.
Yes. But I also miss, and I have a good memory of going to Tromsø a few years ago. That was quite chill. Hopefully.
Actually, the funny moments that we met with Andrei first time in Tromsø. Yeah. It was so nice connection.
Wonderful experience. But yeah, well, for me, what is really missing is that the connection with people. But on the other hand, it's also a time that people can have to think and be with family, and I mean, because you have to, so you develop other parts of yourself, and maybe you will think what it's really important in life. I mean, I think it's nice to get priorities set, and even in film wise, and as you, Morten, I've seen so many films and mostly classics, I have to say, that are just so very few recent films, and that is also, you know, this kind of renewal. And I was thinking just the other day, do we have like, is it film? Is it dead now? Because if we'll check the pulse, I mean, nobody is working. You know, there are no new releases. So I'm thinking, after this, will it be some kind of what is going to come next? I think it can be very important, and hopefully something new and good, even in terms of society. At least this is like a good wish that I hope it can be fulfilled. Let's wait and see what happens.
Well, yeah, thank you. Let's see. Well, it's interesting because we have, like, you know, each of you, it's present a special like Nordic market and like Spanish speaking countries market, and Andrei, like originally from Russia, but I've always met him somewhere like in some film festival. And yeah, you're right, Paulo, that like maybe after 1 week we could be in like a Cannes on the cruiset and drinking champagne with yeah.
I miss our spritz in Venice.
Yeah, well.
Remember our spritz?
Yeah. Andrei,
Yeah.
what's your passion?
My passion, in fact, among criticism, actually, my main occupation is creating in the field of contemporary art, and but also I'm a programmer of film festivals in Vladivostok, and it's scheduled in September, and I hope we will be not forced to cancel it. And now we are working on composing the program, so I see lots of film. I don't have, unfortunately, such opportunity to rewatch Hitchcock, because now I need to watch films for our program. And it's also a very interesting point, because some festivals like Cannes or Venice are cancelled. We should compose our program just from new releases. Some of films that shooted last year, we already present. And it's very programmed by Feed Marcel or La Carna, and maybe to find some. But I don't know. And I write a bit now, but now I write a big article about Argentinian movie that consists of few parts. La Flor, maybe you know, that's a very specific film that reconsiders the idea of TV show, because the magazine, The Art of Cinema, I'm contributor of, they just want to publish a new edition devoted to TV series and that phenomenon of long cinema narration and this medium of serials, because now it's very actual. all the people are watching it. So.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Okay, guys, let's we had a little bit question before. Let's like have a little bit image that let's imagine that we are right now like what's, I want that you will tell a little bit more what do like film critics or like people who is going for the like and working hard in film festivals, like what is your role to present the films, because people who is you know, always when people ask me, oh, okay, you're going to Cannes, that's nice, it's like red carpet and champagne. But yeah, because like I know it's like we are normally not have any time, to be honest, to to drinking champagne, let's say. Can you tell a little bit more to like now our audience, because I do also right now some like we will take this video a little bit later, maybe also published in our social media. So, and we have people who also had the question to us, like how it actually works, like to be film critics and to come to film festival, for example, like same as Cannes. What is it? So is it like just red carpet at 7 o'clock to go to like main palace and enjoying the life and I don't know, speaking with people and just have a party, or it's something let's say it's something more, what or it's I don't know, how can you tell a little bit?
But you know that when you are in Cannes, for instance, it's practically impossible to go to red carpet and to opening ceremony, because it's impossible to find tickets. And also, there are lots of critics, especially, came there to write about films. And as far as I know, some of my very close friends who are doing criticism, they usually see 5 or 6 films per day, so and write about it. And moreover, some of the critics who write for daily or newspapers, it's impossible to go to the party because you need to produce text like a machine.
Yeah, like a machine. It sounds really, but it's true.
I have a very diverse experience because I practically don't write for daily issues, some websites or something like this. I write a big article about one or other film, and for this magazine, because there are only 2 paper magazines focusing on cinema, the art of cinema and sounds. So in my case, it's easier to be in Cannes because I can also attend parties.
Okay, but how many films you usually see every day in Cannes? Hello?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So how many films you normally see during the day in Cannes?
From 4 to...
I'm asking because like normally people say, okay, yeah, you see one films, you go into red carpet, see one movies, and after that have a party whole day, whole night.
No, from 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great. Paulo? I know, because normally it's difficult to keep it you, like, to catch you, let's say, in film festivals.
Well, I mean, I usually see normal, it's minimum 3, usually 4, and then it's more or less my standard, because I also do a lot of interviews, and then you have to go to hotels, and then you know about that, Morten, of course, and you need to go to the press center, and then you have to write. Occasionally, I also go to the official ceremonies, but I usually squeeze into the door that you don't have to go with the tuxedo, and I can maybe watch 1 or 2 films that I need to watch, not because I want to be on the red carpet. That doesn't. It's not. I don't have time for that, and then of course it may happen that you might get 1 or 2 parties. Then you have some cocktail here and there. I think that is also part of the festival, to have this kind of meeting with other people.
Okay,
but you know, it's basically, you know, very hard life. It's not at all what people say. Oh, Paulo, it's so nice. You're so lucky because you go to Cannes. You have to see.
Paulo,
It's really big work.
let's tell to audience a secret. How to become a fipresci jury in Cannes?
Well, actually, I was fipresci jury last year in Cannes.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
How you?
No, there is no secret. I was I applied for jury. I was chosen, and then it's you have to follow. I actually was in the main competition, which was okay. So you have to see all of those films, and then you have to arrange meetings with your jury members, and then you will have discussions, and you know,
So you just apply, and the selection committee say, yeah, you can go like forward.
within the fipresci, yes. So each country representation eventually, if they are interested, can apply for a festival, and then, you know, it's part of the head, so Mr. Klaus Eder, to choose and to organize who will be will form this jury, and then, you know, things follow as usual. It's
Okay. Maybe we can also tell you a little bit about. Okay, first Morten will tell his perfect day in film festival, and afterward we can tell a little bit more about what is it fipresci, because it was one of the questions. How to become a fipresci, and just thinking a bit, and Morten can answer a question about the perfect day.
Yeah, I think that going to, you know, Cannes or Venice or some of the big festivals, it's always very magical because you feel that you're in the center of the film industry and where everything is happening. So I think, first of all, it will feel very strange now in May to not be in Cannes. But at the same time, you know, every time I go to Cannes, it's always very stressful. I never get enough sleep. I watch, as you know, Paulo, I will probably watch 4 movies a day and squeeze, you know, interviews between those movies, and you know, also try to squeeze in a glass of champagne now and then as well. So and also, you know, it's a lot of walking in Cannes, and it's so stressful to, you know, you try and have a schedule, and you try to see a movie 8:30 in the morning, and then,
yeah, because it's perfect time to see the movie. I'm agree with you.
So, and you know, it's so, you know, and watching movies so early in Cannes, you're not really awake, and you know, and some of the movies are not really that good. It can be a bit boring. So, you know, it's, you know, usually I always sit next to someone who's actually sleeping during those 8:30 screenings in the main palais. So, but it's you know, going to these festivals is very stressful, but sometimes my problem is also that I have, the day before, I have created a schedule for myself. Like, I'm going to watch these movies, but sometimes, you know, some of the popular movies can be very, very popular. Like, I remember last year, I was very much looking forward to see the new Quentin Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I didn't have the best badge, so I was standing like 2 hours in a queue, in, you know, outside in the sun, and I got sunburned, and I didn't have anything to drink. Yet I thought, well, this is the end for me. It was horrible. And then, of course, you know, I wasn't let in because it was, you know, too much demand. And then they organized, you know, a new screening, but I had to stand additional 2 hours in a queue for that screening. And so I had been standing 4 hours to watch that movie, but I needed to write about it, and so that can be the problems. And I think that sometimes it's difficult to see all the movies you want to see, and because of the timing and the scheduling can be difficult. And even though I will miss going to the Cannes Film Festival this year, I don't miss the lack of sleep, the stress, and me.
So you already have like as a usual time to have a stress, yeah.
Yeah. It will be nice to actually relax at home for once in May.
Well, yeah, but it's interesting. I can tell you that for film festival to stay in queue, yeah, in line. In one case, it's a huge line, and the second time, when the last time in Cannes, I met a film director from not film director of a film festival, which is same as us, also about environmental topics, and we stayed just next to each other in the line, and we had a conversation of 2 hours to discuss the programming of the film festivals. So to the end, they had a film festival in October. And from last Cannes, I'm already have been in Paris and I have been as a guest for their film festival. And we hope that they will come also to our film festival. And so it's like the line in Cannes is getting a good communication to good context. And yeah, it's really and. One more time, I met one of the head persons for Everymarsh, just to say in the line, same with me. So yeah, it's a good time to make new friends.
Yeah, and and I think that one of the things I actually love most about going to Cannes is to meet colleagues, new people, and making new connections. And at these big festivals, you really feel, but also at small festivals like Tromsø, or you really feel part of a community. And I think that's obviously something I'm really missing during the lockdown. But can I ask a question for all of you?
Yeah, of course.
Because I think that the organizers of the Cannes Film Festival, I think that they're still hoping that they can organize something after the summer. Do you think that will happen?
I think the festival will be held in November, maybe, because Cannes it's only one film festival in the world, still one that's impossible to conceptualize without with bourgeoisie elements, with great opening, red carpets, something like this. But maybe it's a scene of the denying the epoch and the decline in that age of cinema as not only a tool of politics, medium of politics, but also a medium that represents the class struggle or that construction we live in. I mean, sociological construction.
Well, of course, if I may add, we have that global event, the We Are One, I think, festival that is going to happen in YouTube, and it will gather, as they say, 20 of the most important film festivals like Cannes, Berlin, Venice, or whatnot. Even if I'm not quite sure of what it can be showed there and how will it be. So maybe some kind of an alternative program with some of the films that producers will authorize authors' rights to show them, because that's one of the major problems in this area, that you will or you will not authorize that your film will be shown in the web. Having said that, it's also something that I think it will be also part of our future, in a way that streaming, it has grown so much because it's the other side of confinement. So film theaters are closed, but streaming engines, they are growing like hell. And I think Netflix, it's some incredible numbers that they are showing. So on the other hand, I think that in the next let's say year slots, or the next years, you will have so many film productions done by Netflix and even the others, HBO, Apple, and there are new ones, and it's growing fast. So I'm wondering if what is going to happen. But one thing I think it's interesting, it's the democratization of the event. So it's like an event that it will be access to almost everybody. And on that sense, I think it's interesting that everyone can feel, oh, I was with Cannes or whatever other festival, I was connected, I was in. So in a way that is, and I saw the films, and I think that's very interesting. I don't even know how, these big film festivals can also, if they go in streaming, how can they be reproduced in let's say other countries, but in theaters. Let's say, okay, we will sell you this and you can just, because I think we will need to have more and more alternative programs for the theaters. We'll have less films and then we need, and I think people will be eager to go. So it will be interesting times, I think.
Well, actually, yeah, it's interesting. And one more thing that, guys, do you think that, okay, right now we can make, like real film shooting. So it means that it's like, getting more new life for films which are something like animation and drawing. Is it getting like right now more popular? Have you heard about some I don't know, a new movement of animation films as a films, not just a short one, but a big movies which are switching to animation, let's say?
I don't think so. Moreover, it means that all of the companies should reconstruct their production process to make animation. It's a real serious thing that claims lots of money to invest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think no, but and also maybe some new regimes for organization shooting will be invented. Just.
Okay.
No, and also the very Paula paid attention to very important point about we will face with lots of film produced by Netflix. And also, as far as you know, Netflix conceptually, it's not. It's a new model for producing the content, and we will. And I'm afraid of the one of Netflix in that situation, that we practically will be see the film to some very bright and obvious political statements and concepts, and also we practically will lose some small companies, especially in Europe or in Latin America, that were producing films, and the very independent films.
Yeah, it's like small enterprises which are doing.
But I also think what's important with Netflix and other streaming companies like that is that they're taking care of and funding movies by filmmakers who the studios have forgotten. Just look at Marriage Story, The Irishman, The Two Popes, and that sort of movies. And those sort of movies, the studios the big studios in Hollywood are not making anymore. So I think that Netflix and Amazon Prime and etc. they're doing quite a good job in terms of making sure that all these great filmmakers are still able to make movies, and also that Netflix are both willing and forced to invest in local productions. They've started to make many local productions here in the Nordics, and I guess that's the case with your territories as well. So I think that it's interesting how Netflix is evolving, and of course they're making all these big crowd pleasers like this new series Hollywood and Ozark and those things, but they're also making a lot of small independent production and buying a lot of movies at Sundance and other festivals. So, but I think what's really interesting about Cannes now is that the Cannes Festival have been very against streaming for several years now, but now they end up as a part of a streaming festival.
Yes, that's the irony.
That's the irony, exactly.
But on that note, I also think, and on the other hand, that there will be in space for much specialized, and I'm talking about film festivals, specialized festivals as Barents or your festival, which they tackled very specific topics, and I think that is also something that is going to be relevant and has to do with documentary, which is another field that I think it can grow, and it's growing quite well, and we see very, very diverse works being done by several directors and new people that is coming in, and I think it's a field that is going to be relevant, and film festivals such as Barents and other film festivals, say the human rights is also a very, I think, hot topic that demands to have a window to show this films, and maybe they will even circle, let's say, even in streaming and other, because I think streaming it's here to stay, so we have to maybe adapt to it as well.
And I also think it's interesting to look at all the consequences now of this lockdown globally. I think that the theater, and that will of course have, if that happens, it will have consequences. So it's very difficult to predict the future, but I think that this whole corona virus obviously will have huge effects that we currently don't know yet on the industry. But I think what would be interesting in the future is that you could both have a live festival in front of a live audience, but also it can take place at the same time on a streaming platform, and then all the debates and all the conversations and all the movies can reach a even bigger audience. And I definitely agree with Paulo that I think that the demand for more specialized film festival will be even bigger in the years to come, because I think that maybe people are a bit tired of all these generic festivals.
So like it's a new future for online festival with specific let's say specific topics. We can think about that. Thank you. Make a new motivation a little bit.
But if you think of what happened with the internet, I mean, and what happened to media countries, we were used to write in paper newspapers and magazines, and some of us and most of us, we are writing in online platforms. I'm not saying that is going to be the same thing, but in a way, I think the same gradual movement will happen on maybe TV sets, on streaming. It's not something that I support, on the contrary, but I think theaters will become also more specialized in, let's say, art house theaters, and some big blockbusters for the experience that will be a huge spectacle. But I think people will tend to concentrate more and more, and unfortunately, in television. Let's see what the market will offer, and what, you know, us and you know, the public will be wanting to see, and where it's going to depend on the offer and what people are looking for.
Okay, interesting. Let's take a little bit understanding, because it was one of my questions. It's about fipresci, and I was asked like, and I want to ask you, can you tell a little bit to like our audience and normal people, what is it fipresci? And one more question which I was common to that, it's how you realize that you are ready for to be film critics.
Wow.
Yeah. How you like, how to become a film critics, and how you like, you know, wake up on the morning and realize, okay, today I'm ready for to be a film critics.
I don't still confident. I'm not still confident. I'm
Really?
already, but I rather you know that if you don't, if you didn't graduate from cinema or from university with film studies or some philosophical studies concerning film or art history, your career in film criticism is constituted by very rare events, you know, something that you didn't predict, but someone asked you, please write me text about this film, if you work in industry, because I have been working for film festivals since 2008, you know, and so once the editor of magazine asked me to write about one film, about two, and you can do it.
Okay, Morten.
Well, I was actually originally I was going to be a film producer, and I had applied to go, studying producing at the Norwegian Film School many years ago when I was younger. Now I'm old. No, I'm not that old, but I decided that, I was like literally taking the car to the film school and was going to start there to become a producer. But then I decided that I think it was more interesting to work with communication and when a movie or a television series is finished and write about it, and to recommend what's good and what's not good to the audience. And I studied media science, and so that was my way of into this part of the film business. And I think it's I think that if you really would like to be a film critic or a film journalist or a journalist in general, I think that you could do that by, there is many ways to Rome, as they say. So I think that as long as you have a passion for it, I think that's one of the most important things.
Okay.
Yes, well, I mean, for me, this question of being a film critic, which is also something that I still, I don't know exactly if that's what I am, but it has to do with passion. It's something that you have to be really, really passionate about. And I remember when I was studying in law school, I was skipping classes because I was going to screenings in the morning. So then I came with posters and eventually I studied law, and I studied even international relations, and now I am in coming back to school again, and I'm developing a master in but it's a theoretical master in film direction and philosophy, which is something that, you know, brings back, you know, the beginning of everything. And to be a film critic, and you know, I remember the first time I went to Berlin. It was 99, and then I started to go to Cannes and the other festivals. It's obviously a very exciting time, especially when you will be exchanging points of view and chatting with people who actually have done the film. So in interviews, and you know, if you then go to press junkets and you really meet, you know, very relevant filmmakers, that is something that will, you know, of course, change you. But then you have to always think as yourself as somebody that is, you know, learning and doing a job. Of course, it's, one might think it's can be very glamorous to go to fly to LA to interview let's say Quentin Tarantino or a very famous star, but it's something that has it is actually work, and I do prefer sometimes chat with lesser known filmmakers and even lesser important film festivals. That's where you have a better experience and exchanging with the people and professionals that really share the passion, and that's when you feel that it's really the ideal place, and in that case the ideal profession to be. So for me, it has to do with, you know, passion is the key element for me. So.
Okay. We have one more question. It's about how to prepare when you're planning to go, for example, to film festival. So what it should be done before, like how you preparing yourself, or like you just go in spontaneously and looking like, okay, spontaneously. You just go in spontaneously and just like go into the first movie and okay, I like it, I will take an interview, or you're really preparing yourself and you make, I don't know, some schedule of meetings and of films what you have to see, and how you preparing yourself for the films too, if you're doing that.
Yeah, I can start. I think that I'm probably going to festivals for 13, 14 years now. And I think that, you know, it's in terms of doing interviews at festivals, it's just getting more and more difficult, is my view on it, because, and even with less talent, because for example, in Cannes, you know, more and more people are going there. And so there is a lot of, and the talents, they don't have, unlimited time. So the press people, they only can allow, a certain number of journalists to do interviews. So it's, so sometimes it can be a bit difficult to get the interviews you want, but sometimes you can be, lucky and meet someone that you really didn't plan to meet, but it happens to be a very interesting person. I remember a few years in Cannes, all of a sudden, while sitting and, drinking a glass of water at the Croisette, I got a phone call, and and it was a press person who said, "Do you want to interview John Travolta?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So you know, things like that can happen, but usually, you know, it's you have to spend a lot of time with the press people and convince them that, you know, your territory should, you know, have a slot to do an interview. And in general, you know, many weeks before going to festivals, I always study the program a lot, so that I know which movies that I'm really interested to watch. And but also I have a lot of you know, I talk a lot with my editors, so that, because sometimes maybe they want me to write about certain movies that I'm, you know, necessarily not that keen on, but, you know, I have to do it. So it's a lot of preparations for sure.
That John Travolta was like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't see the movie. He was
Oh, me neither.
no.
Really?
But it was a great interview, I have to say.
Yeah, I think we were together.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
and with his wife?
Yeah, with his wife, yes. And there was no press people in the room when we were doing the interview.
No, it was.
But maybe you were, and we were talking about cookies.
And Scientology.
Oh, no, I didn't talk about.
No, I did.
Wow.
Yes. And it was interesting because he said that it was going to would be the 40 years of Greece.
Yeah.
So he was going to dance on the beach. So we were talking about dancing skills. And of course, when before I asked his wife, I mean, because then he was like this big, you know, star. And she said that, oh, I'm going to marry this man, like when she was 15 or something. But well, just to say that, you know, I just mentioned that I didn't see the film, and that can happen, which doesn't mean that it's something that you are being unprofessional, or because to interview John Travolta, you really don't. I mean, if it's like a huge film, I saw the film afterwards, and it was an interesting film.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
but it's a personality interview where you have so many things to speak, and if you won't speak about the film, it's even
better. I think that was the best thing about interviewing him. You know, you could talk about everything, and he was, you know, he just gave so much of himself. Yeah. And that, as you know, it rarely that happens with these talents. I remember interviewing Henry Cavill a few months ago, and it was very difficult to interview him because he nearly didn't say anything. So I had to drag the words from him.
But you know what? Sometimes, you know, that happened the other way, and I had some very great moments with, you know, very, let's say, stars that you think that you will be, and it happened in Cannes, for instance.
Yeah.
One time it was possible to interview Nicole Kidman, which is kind of, you know, the you know, for me it was like the pinnacle of my type of interviews. She was so, you know, it's like direct and, you know, in your face. She would it was a film where she actually had a very uncomfortable moments that she would actually go and do some nasty thing. She was going to pee in somebody's face because there was, and she talked about that with no you know, no problem. So I was quite moved by the openness. It seems like for some brief minutes, it looks like, oh, we're friends, and then of course she wouldn't ever think about you. But that it's a moment when it's happening something that it's interesting. We're chatting, but it's like a capsule in time that that it's no, it's also part of the good things about about being a film critic or going to these, you know, glamorous film festivals.
Okay, Andrei, do you want to add something about your preparation?
Yeah, I don't have a very specific preparation, just because for all the critic and people.
Just 2 weeks before film festival last time, and before Berlinale, he told me already that he had a tough schedule of a program of all movies what he wants to see, and was like, okay, thank you, I need to make my homework right now.
Yeah, but there is necessity to make a plan, because you know, especially on big film festival like not in Cannes, like Berlin, there are lots of films, around 15 programs, and you have to find something new based on your intuition from time to time, because there are lots of new works, debut film. You usually don't know about the directors of that films, and of course you make your personal navigation through the catalogs and description and synopsis of the film, but just a job, and moreover the rhythm of each year is determined by that festival for critics, you know, and they usually know they can plan something in May, I mean for their personal life, or in August, in February.
Good planning for your like traveling like schedule, let's say, and tough work, like say. Yeah, and that's the next question that we had from our audience. It's what's the difference between film festivals? Like we already have discussed it about Cannes, and you said a little bit about Berlinale. So we have like a huge amount of film festivals. Maybe you can take like a top 10 or top 5. What's difficult between them? As you said already, Berlinale sounds a little bit more. Yeah, I know that it's a really strange question for us, but for people who is, you know, just planning to start your like, let's say, film critics way, or like to what's festival is best like to plan for to go when you go for your first one festival, like it's maybe you can give some advice, let's say.
Well, I wouldn't maybe advise to go directly to the big film festivals, let's say Cannes, Venice, and Berlin. Those are other festivals that I really need to have some good planning, because you have so many films that you want to see, but then you if you're doing interviews, you have to reschedule things between, you have to change a lot of things, and then there are so many films that you want to see and you end up not seeing because you have to adjust. I think sometimes, you know, the smaller festivals are those that can give you a very nice experience. But also, I mean, if you want to be a film critic, you know, let's say specialized in festivals, you will have to go to also to the big ones, and to have your own experience, being good or bad. But you know, it's but if you don't know what you need to do already, it can be a little bit depressing, because you can be a little bit out of the if you don't have like a card that will give you access to screenings, and then there is the priorities, that's a little bit tough. And also the downside of things, and then you have to go to security. They will not let you. You had a sandwich that you're hoping to eat after the screening. They will take you out because they will think it's dangerous, and you cannot eat inside, and your perfume and your everything. So in Cannes, they are totally paranoid with this. So it's and of course the best experiences are, even if you can go far. And for me, one of the best experiences, it was like many years ago. It was, I applied for fipresci, and I went to this kind of exotic thing, and it was a festival in Zanzibar, which is in Kenya. It's totally in Africa. And it was amazing because you will meet the people. Of course, it was a very strange thing because we have to see films with DVDs at the hotel.
Okay.
And in the festival, it was like an arena where they would somebody would shut the projector if, let's say, if a couple was kissing or something. And then they say, okay, you will not see this because they are Muslims, and so there's kind of all this culture. So all of these things can be, and then they stay with you. It's like, okay, and there are so many film festivals in the world that it's.
Actually, Kenya Film Commission right now open film pitching. So maybe someone who is here in Western right now wants to, I don't know, to shoot films in Kenya right now. It's a good time to apply. And what about San Sebastian? Because it's your one of area film festival. So and we said that we want to have something new this year because so sounds what way will be. And we have a good plan.
I think right now it's not settled. I think if they're going to go forward with this edition,
okay,
let's say. But for me, it's one of the festivals I enjoyed going because it's not so far away, and well, the food is great. And there are many talents that you can that you have, even if you miss them in other festivals, that you can meet them again in San Sebastian. And they have an amazing slots of films there to see. So it's especially if you're interested in Latin American cinema, which I do. So it's really good.
Okay.
Let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope. And I heard that Way wants to have also market this year.
Yes, I heard that. I think probably it's going to happen, but even if it's another side of the story. Like in Cannes, it's a big thing. So I always go there just to have an idea. It's it's another film festival in
As a market.
Oh yes.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Yeah, and also there is very important symbolical film things concerning San Sebastian, because it's like a closing of the season, and it's a bit relaxing. There is no such stressful atmosphere like in Cannes, because it's a city, and it's a really wonderful autumn of that's intensive seasons every year.
Yeah, much more relaxed.
Okay.
And also fipresci actually awarded the best film during San Sebastian.
Yeah. the winner.
Okay. Interesting. Morten, what do you think about film festivals difference?
Yeah, well, I think that I agree with Andrei and Paulo, and but I think it all depends what you want to do. If you want to do interviews or watch the newest movies, maybe then you have to go to like the big so-called A festivals like Cannes, Venice, Toronto, Berlin, etc. But if you just want to have a film festival experience, then I think it's better to go to small ones. I think one of my best film festival experiences was going to Fantastic Fest in Austin. That was a crazy, very good film festival. I've only been there once. I've always wanted to go back. It's a very unpredictable festival, and
not South by Southwest, no.
No, this is our own
Also,
festival, Fantastic Fest. And the thing with Fantastic Fest is that it's focusing on genre movies. So there's a lot of thrillers, horror movies, and the atmosphere is totally unique to any other festival. And what's very strange is that there is a lot of actors and directors who you sit next to and watch movies with. So many days I was sitting next to Elijah Wood. He wasn't there promoting a movie, but he was just a fan of those movies being screened there. And they also have all these very strange activities during in the evenings, nighttime. Like they could have two celebrities fighting to each other for fun, and drinking contests, and it was just a fantastic festival. So that's one of my favorite festivals, and I would very much like to go back there. But at the Zurich Film Festival as well, and it has some similarities with San Sebastian, I believe, in programming, and they're collaborating, I think. So and I think that going to a film festival, it's a great way of learning new cultures and visiting new places, and that's a nice aspect as well. And of course, the food.
So like movies, people, culture, and food.
Yeah.
And drinking.
Yeah, drinking as well. Yeah. But I think it's interesting to meet other critics or journalists or people in the film industry or in the festival industry, and having dinner with them and talking about movies, about what's going on in their countries, and
I see we have Pavlik over here. Hi, Pavlik.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi. I'm
Hi.
sorry.
Nice to see you.
Sorry, I missed the time because I didn't see the Moscow time.
Okay, yeah, I'm interested. Okay, if you audience have any questions, so please ask, and so join our conversation, because we can speak a long time and discuss about, I don't know, all our memories and discussion what we had before. But maybe someone wants to hear something. I just got that someone have a questions. Yes. No. Oh, if someone of you have a question, so please just raise your hand or just get a voice. They can hear. Okay. Yes. Yes. Hello. Daniel, what is your plan for the summer? You had your festival was planning in June, is it?
Yes, you just catch me how I selecting the movies. So I got maybe 30 movies, and now I selecting them in 4 category: we are not give up of festival because my friend suggests me that I make some kind of virtual edition. So it will be procedure of the during everything will be how we often to do that. But in the end, we will celebrate the winners in the
Муха, цокотуха.
Natasha, we hear you.
Well,
Okay,
can you translate?
Muha!
Muha.
Okay, I think it was a voice a little bit from Riga also. That's nice.
That's good. Yes.
Okay.
Colleagues, unfortunately, I have other Zoom in 10 minutes. So
Yeah, that's a time right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have to abandon your sweet company. Have a good day. And
thank
weekend.
you, Andrei.
And, yeah, and I hope we will back to our normal life soon.
Yes, see you in a
See you,
festival.
everyone's really soon.
Very
You're
soon,
excited.
I miss real good projection in cinema, you know.
Yeah,
If we talk
let's
about
make some like nice after lockdown, some nice meeting with in cinema hall.
yeah,
Let's hope, Daniel, I can see you in Portugal.
Oh, I don't know how it will be. You know, it's you know how I don't know how
Of
you're
course.
living with the coronavirus, but here is everything closed. You know, for
Yes.
me it's impossible to go in Zagreb because I need the permission. You know, special permission.
Yeah, just
Yeah, but we will see how
just
it
a
will
wish.
continue. Yeah.
Wishful thinking.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm also have to say
Yeah,
goodbye to you and our viewers.
I'm
But it was
agreeing.
great sharing well our experiences.
Thank you very much for to be online with all of us.
And I know I will see you guys soon, and maybe even you, Anastasia, we haven't heard you yet, but let's see, maybe some other time. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, and
Bye-bye.
Take care and
yeah.
say hello to your family,
care.
Paulo.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Let's ask audience. Do they have any question to every one of us, or just nice words? And I think we should. We already speak in like 1.5 hours, so it was a really nice conversation, and it's nice to have this. I don't know, some nice activity with everyone during this lockdown time and speaking about some. Oh, I'm already crying.
Thank God for Zoom. Thank God for Zoom. It's a great tool.
Yeah, I also testing that. So, and we will make some a little bit more Zoom meetings during this normal film festival time.
Yeah.
So next one will be about film green shooting actually, and it will be after like 1 day. I will send to all of you also invitations so you can participate, and it will be actually Norwegian Film Institute also participate in these Zoom meetings. Yeah, thank you. And also Film Green Shooting Association, and also some of film commission which are really active right now in film green shooting. So, and I hope that we can make some some big activities which are we right now starting already from 1 year, and it will be pushing more right now from Berlinale. So let's see.
Yeah.
Norway actually are really involved in that, in north of Finland. So yeah, let's see. Maybe it's like something new that happens. Okay, no question anymore because we had a lot of before our meetings. So Anastasia, no? Okay. So thank you very much, guys, and enjoy your time. We'll be really happy to see you one more time, even in online time.
Thank you for organizing, Anna, and for all of you. Stay safe and continue to be well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm sorry I joined you so late, but it was very pleasure to see some famous face, and so only that my daughter saying hello to you.
Hello.
Marcy.
Hello.
Okay.
Take care,
guys. Take care. Yes, take care. Stay safe, and see you soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.